So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my 16-inch MacBook Pro first impressions video. Now, this is not a full review because I haven't had enough time with this laptop yet to give you that, but we're gonna start out with my first impressions. This is the 2799 model, which means it has the 5500M graphics chip. It also does have a Core i9 CPU with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it also has 1 terabyte SSD. So it's just a base model 2799 edition. So my first impressions on the body are that it basically feels like the other MacBooks in terms of the looks and the feel of the material, classic Apple since the 2016 model edition. But the laptop itself is definitely bigger. It's got a heavier feel. It takes up more space in your bag, but not too much. It's just a little bit bigger and more similar to the 2015 edition MacBook Pro, which is not a bad thing. It definitely gives it a substantial feel here. And I think if you have the MacBook Pros of 2016 through 18 or even 19, and not this one, the 15 inches, you're not going to feel like this is too much more to carry, especially if you want that better keyboard and the better battery life that this laptop does offer, maybe the bigger screen and more performance. So on the left side of the laptop, you can see there's still 2 Thunderbolt ports right here, USB-C ports. And if you're coming from a 2015 MacBook Pro or older, you're gonna have to still get used to getting a dongle or some kind of adapter to go ahead and adapt other ports, or just start to transition over to USB-C type devices. And the same could be said for the right side of this MacBook, just 2 more Thunderbolt ports right there. And you do have a headphone jack, which is nice for this laptop, but you don't see any HDMIs, you don't see any other type of ports right here, no SD card slot, nothing like that. So you are gonna have to get a dongle if you are gonna be using this for applications such as photo or video editing. And you can see the back of this MacBook is still pretty similar to all the other MacBooks. You have these rubber stoppers right here to stop the laptop from being damaged. And we have screws that go around the edges, pretty basic on the bottom of this MacBook. And I thought I also mentioned that the Apple logo on the back of this laptop doesn't light up like maybe on a 2015 model. So if you're coming from anything older than 2016, you're not gonna get that light up logo anymore here. Okay guys, so let's talk about the keyboard here. First of all, you're gonna notice that the arrow keys have changed. There's now better separation and you could feel these out a little bit better. In addition, the Touch ID button is separated from the touch bar. That's something you didn't see. It was all integrated before. And also Apple brought back the escape key over here, which is great for people who do like to use that key. I didn't use it much, but for people who do use it a lot, that's great because you can just feel it out. Now, how you feel about the touch bar is gonna be really personal preference. I kind of like it because I can like cut up, video and video editing. There's like a split tool up there, and sometimes it is very useful, but some people don't like that they can't just feel out the volume whenever they want. They gotta sometimes hit an extra step just to turn the volume up and down, things like that. In addition, the keys are better spaced out, and Apple has switched to more of a Magic keyboard on here, which is kind of in between, say, the butterfly keyboard and the old 15-inch keyboard. And there's definitely more travel on this laptop right here. Okay guys, so here's a look at that keyboard, that new one from a side view. And you can see as I press down here, there's just a lot more travel than before on that key. Now, this is not as much as like some older MacBooks, but it's a lot better than the butterfly keys, which you basically felt like they weren't even going down whatsoever. In addition, Apple has improved what's under these switches as well to make sure that you don't get dust, debris, and food and things like that inside. And it should be easy to swap these out if any of them do break. You could probably just remove the keycap, put a new one on. So this is going to be a much improved keyboard. And just because it's a little bit more travel, it makes the keyboard experience of typing for long periods of time a lot more comfortable. And so when typing for a long time, this is an awesome keyboard. It's just a lot more comfortable. And like I say, because of the spacing, you're less likely to make mistakes. Now, I didn't have a big issue with the butterfly keyboard in terms of speed. I was very fast on that keyboard as well. But once you start typing on here, you'll realize that it's just more comfortable to keep on typing on this keyboard. My fingers would actually hurt a little bit on the butterfly keyboard just because the less travel. Now, I will say one thing. This trackpad on here is excellent. It's super large, and I think it's the best in the industry, to be quite honest with you. So if you want a great trackpad on a laptop, look no further than pretty much any of the MacBooks, to be honest with you. They all have these awesome large trackpads, but it's even larger here on the 16-inch model. Okay guys, so the model I went with is this one right here, 2.3 gigahertz, 8-core i9 CPU, and this is a turbo boost up to 4.8 gigahertz. The Radeon Pro 5500M, which is a better graphics than the 53 on the base model. And I went with 16 gigs of RAM because I never ran into troubles before with that RAM. 1 terabyte of SSD storage, which is double that of the 512 gig. And this is the main reason I jumped to this model, was double the storage. I mean, this can run out pretty fast if you are doing video and photo editing. And then they both have the same 16-inch Retina display with True Tone. They both have a touch bar, and it's basically the same laptop besides what you're putting on the internals when you are paying a little bit more here. Now you can really spec these out to get well over $5 grand if you want to, but these two options right here, even at the starting prices, are very powerful computers. And when it comes to performance and doing video editing and things like that, Final Cut Pro is super smooth on here, as is iMovie if you use this video editing application as well. I flip-flop between both of them. The rendering times are ridiculously fast compared to prior MacBooks, and there's just no lag, no matter if you're doing 4K or 1080p video. So for people who do love to do video editing, this is going to be probably one of the best options, if not the best option, for a laptop on the market today. Okay guys, so I want to talk about the display of this laptop. Now what you really notice is the reduced bezels. It doesn't really feel that much bigger than the 15-inch, a little bit, but the reduced bezels gives you the illusion that it's much larger. And when you do look at another MacBook of any sort, the bezels are starting to look a lot bigger. Now, I do want to see Apple bring it all the way edge to edge. We're not quite there, but I think we will be there soon if they keep up their current progress. Now, if we do hit Safari here, we're going to go to this Wikipedia on the MacBook Pro. You can see that the display fills up a lot better here on the 16-inch than before. So I didn't really get this laptop for that reason. I got it for the power and the storage and the better keyboard. But you can see that the screen is definitely welcome here for the MacBook Pro. Now it does get up to around like 500 nits, and my first impressions on it are it's basically the same display as the 15-inch of last year, but it does have one neat trick up its sleeve. And if we go into system preferences, we go to display, and you can see right here, you can change the refresh rate from 50 hertz to 48 hertz. This is going to be great for some filmmakers and people who really need to tweak around with the hertz of the display, the refresh rate. Also, you have True Tone here, and you can change the brightness as you would like. It gets plenty bright. It's one of the brightest laptops I've ever seen. Not the brightest on the market, but still, this is one of the brightest laptops you can buy. So definitely for this kind of money, you better be getting a good display. And luckily, Apple has hooked you up here with a very good display. It's not OLED, but if you're going to keep this laptop for a very long time, LCD is probably the better option to go with. So with the MacBook Pro 16, you're getting a 100 watt-hour battery with a 96 watt power adapter. Now, this is good for up to 11 hours on, basically if you're just using it for Safari, maybe website surfing. But if you're doing rendering and things like that, it's going to deplete a lot faster. But still, it's better rated than the prior edition, which just adds to the value of this MacBook Pro. Now, my actual experience with the battery life has been so far on first impressions pretty good. I don't have actual numbers just yet because, like I say, I haven't used it too much, but it's draining at a little bit of a slower pace than, say, the 15-inch I had that I traded in for this. I traded in a 2018 15-inch, and that thing would just deplete extremely faster than this one. I'm going to say about an hour or two more battery life I'm getting on the 16-inch. So if you're looking for better battery life, this is hands down a good option for you. And my first impressions on audio are, wow, the audio on this laptop is insane for coming out of a laptop. It sounds very bassy, and there's like woofers in here, so this thing is very loud if you don't want to use headphones. This is going to be one of your best options on the market. Also, the actual microphone in here is pretty close to that of like an actual microphone you would buy to record audio. So if you want to record audio on here, this is going to be a pretty good option in a pinch. If you just don't have a microphone with you, you can get pretty good audio just out of this laptop itself. This video, and I'm going to try to help you decide Is it going to be worth your time or not? Okay, so the first pro of getting the Apple Watch Series 3 right now is that the software is basically identical to that of the Series 5 as well as the Series 4. So you get the App Store on here on the Series 3 with watchOS. So you've seen right there that the audio performance is not bad on this laptop. So on my first impressions, I'm pretty happy with it so far. I will test out it a little bit more in the microphone before the full review, as well as in the headphone jack to see how audio does connect, and Bluetooth as well. So yeah, overall first impressions, very pleased with these speakers. So what can I say about the MacBook Pro 16 in conclusion? Well, this one's not for the budget-minded MacBook buyer. This is for the MacBook buyer who wants everything they can get, the best of the best from Apple. And this is definitely for the professional. Now you can spec it out. And if you do want a really good big laptop, this could also be for you as well, as it has a larger screen you've ever seen on a MacBook since the 17-inch models, which is great. You have a better keyboard, which is great for people who didn't like the butterfly keyboard. You have the same beautiful trackpad. It's just overall the best MacBook of this iteration of design. Of course, it doesn't have the best webcam, only 720p. Of course, it's not the best OLED display you're gonna see. It's still LCD, but it's Retina, so it's got True Tone, and it's got refresh rate changes you can make. There's plenty of things you can do with it. It has a good battery life. It has a fast charging 96-watt charger. And at 4.3 pounds, it's still pretty portable. It's a great workstation. On the whole, I think this laptop is worth it if your job demands it or your career demands a laptop with this type of power. I'll further test this. If you guys want to see the full review, let me know down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed, and if you got a 16-inch, share your experiences with the community down below. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.